for news that's short, sharp and
Are
shrewd.
you talking about the podcast or me?
Both.
Backhanded compliment.
This is Up Late with Ben Harvey.
There's a lot of drugs on the way to WA at the moment.
Cops reckon two men have sailed a 6.5 metre boat 30 clicks out to sea where they rendezvoused with a bigger boat that was carrying 320 kilograms of cocaine. They allegedly ferry the drugs back to land, load them into a camper van, get pulled over by police and end up in bracelets.
Seems to be a popular method.
Crooks have been smuggling contraband this way since ships had sails. We just put a crew in jail for sailing an industrial amount of meth, coke and MDMA from Madagascar to Geraldton. A drug mule recently drowned off Newcastle trying to recover $20 million worth of coke from a ship coming into port, and so on and so on. Smugglers transfer drugs from big international shipping companies for two reasons. First, it's a far more comfortable way of getting dope into Australia than shoving a dozen condoms full of blow up your ass.
I have to sneeze.
If you sneeze, it is very important that you clench at the same time.
And second, it's quite low risk because WA alone has just shy of 13,000 kilometres of coastline, but Australian Border Force has about a dozen boats, only a handful of which are ever stationed out west. So you have to be very unlucky for seaborne law enforcement to stumble across you randomly.
Nothing moves out there within 1,000 kilometres that Jeff doesn't hear about.
Heard any good jokes lately?
Even if they do have intel that a particular ship about to enter Australian waters may have drugs on board, it's still no guarantee they'll find the drugs, because the container vessels coming into the Pilbara, like the one the cops suspect the campervan crew rendezvoused with, are this big. The iron ore carriers that come and go from ports in WA's northwest are 300 metres long, 50 metres wide, and can carry up to 260,000 tonnes. The 320 kilos of cocaine seized by the cops would have filled a box about this big.
Hard to find.
It's something that the new-ish head of the Australian Federal Police in WA is acutely aware of. Pryce Scanlan is Assistant Commissioner, Western Command for the AFP.
He looks like a cop.
He was born a cop. His first words were the Miranda rights.
You got the right to an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, we will provide you with the dumbest lawyer on earth.
He's always looked like a cop. This is him in about 2000.
Jesus, didn't that guy ever have hair?
As head of the AFP in WA, it's Pryce's job to find the drugs in the source countries before they get shipped into our waters.
Tough job.
Pryce Scanlan loves hunting drug dealers. Australian federal police officers have a bad rap with the local cops because they don't do the same amount of time on the street. It's a bit like the FBI city cop friction you see in movies.
I'm Dwayne Robinson, LAPD. I'm in charge here.
Not anymore.
They're seen as shiny bums that get fast-tracked into detective work without doing the hard yards, getting spat on walking the beat in Northbridge. Scanlan did all that. He was with WA Police for 30 years before he took the gig with the feds. His career really took off when he was with the WA Police Drug Squad, and then officer in charge of the Fremantle Tactical Investigation Group.
What does a tactical investigation group do?
Have you seen American Gangster?
No.
The Wire?
Yes.
Okay.
Major crimes. Shit.
So Pryce Scanlan's unit was like Jimmy McNulty's team in The Wire. They do stuff like this. When Scanlan arrived in Fremantle 20 years ago, it wasn't quite Baltimore or Harlem, but organised crime figures were quite brazenly doing deals on the Cappuccino Strip.
Which groups are you talking about?
Three of them: coffin cheaters, rebels, and old-school Italian Mafia.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Mafia. Here.
It was a thing, and it's still a thing. Scanlan and his team decided they'd take down some of the true godfathers of Western Australian crime based in Fremantle. They literally put a bunch of names on a board, started from scratch, and started hunting. First up was the Rebels. They'd pretty much taken over Metropolis nightclub and had turned it into a quasi-gang clubhouse. In 2001, Operation Gucci put Rick Roberts, or Rebel Rick as he was known, Shane Lehman, Errol Munro, Simon Jones and a very young Carl LeBrook inside. A year later, Operation Vendetta saw gangsters Dominic Urbano and Santo Montagna put away, while Operation Kiwi targeted Paolo Sinagra Brisca and Courier Mario Noto.
Result?
These were big operations. Scanlan was taking so much money and so much drugs off the crooks, they put out a hit on him. This was the front page of the West Australian back in June 2002. The $50,000 bounty was on Scanlan's head. We didn't know it was him back then. We just referred to him as a senior police officer. It took 2 decades for him to talk about what actually happened. The Italians were so furious at constantly getting pulled over and searched, they decided to get rid of the problem. Scanlan's at home one night in 2002 when the major crime squad knock on his door and say he's got to get out of the house because not only is there a bounty on his head, but someone had taken on the contract to kill him.
That's hardcore.
They didn't get him, of course. He's still hunting. I'm Ben Harvey. If you'd like to watch Up Late with me, Ben Harvey, search for The West Australian on YouTube.